There we are.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're on the porch.
Okay. I'm not a giggling idiot, although sometimes I feel like
What part? The giggling or just the idiot part?
probably a little bit of both.
I know, right?
The more I hang around you, the more I feel like both.
Hey now. Hey now.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help that. All right. Hi, good to see you again. I'm David.
And I'm Craig, and we're back on our pseudo porches. Yeah.
Remember the symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that porch metaphor for us stands for freedom of speech, the right to say what we think what we say, I think, and so forth.
Old guys, freedom of the speech.
Exactly right. It's kind of like when you've had too many beers, and you don't really care what you're talking about, although you're embarrassing your wife and your mother-in-law if you're at any kind of family gathering.
Or you decide to go and make a film.
There's always that. Talk about
we've done a few of those.
Oh, geez, films. Oh, yeah, bringing up films. As you probably know, or maybe don't know, we're filmmakers, CRA Entertainment. We have a few films out there in the public, working on some new projects, which we're excited about. I don't want to give it away. I don't like to do that, but we're excited about some new projects we got going on, and down the line we'll discuss those more. But films, why do we like films so much, Craig?
Well, I can say for me, I mean, just as an only child, a form of escapism. I mean, that there was nothing better than like a Saturday afternoon to go to the old surf theater downtown Huntington Beach and spend the afternoon there, man. You could, lights go down and the scary movies or whatever it was, man, you and your friends, and just spend all day there, and then once that, now you go see a movie, you only see one film, right? But back in the day, and same for you, I know, you were there all day, right? And you had intermission and get your popcorn and all that. Your parents would drop you off and say, okay, see you later, or you just walk home. But it was a big deal back then. And I think we were fortunate. We were raised on a lot of good films, and it was just a thing, man.
No, I think you're absolutely right. We spent the Saturday. Well, my older brother Manuel, and I spent every Saturday from the morning until we saw all. And generally, it was usually a double feature, sometimes 3 films, always cartoons in between. Sometimes news clips preceded the first film. And anywhere from she's 10 cents, 15, 25 cents to get in. I mean, just depends on where you were. I remember one time when I was a kid, I was living with my biological father in Derby, Colorado. Okay, it's a farm cattle community basically outside of Denver. And it smelled like cattle community too. But not to digress, but once you get past that smell, I mean, you're there a few days, you're like, what smell?
Yeah, I don't know about that, man.
No, it's true. It's weird. I didn't realize it until I lived there. And after a while, it's like, that's just, you don't smell it anymore. I don't know what it is. Till you leave, of course. You come back an hour later, you're like,
yeah, that's I don't know, not a lot. Anyhow, go ahead.
There wasn't really a theater in this little town. It was a little town, Derby, Colorado, and I remember going Saturday to the local shopping center, and at this one store in the back is where they had movies, where they showed movies, and it was for like 10 cents, right? Yeah. And they had benches, and this is no joke. And they showed it. They were showing a movie on a big sheet screen, and I watched a movie there. But I didn't care, Somebody was taking us there, and it was the movies, right? So yeah, movies, and I think you're right. This vicarious enjoyment, whatever you're watching, which is why I didn't like to go watch a whole lot of romantic movies as a kid, or a teenager.
or if you did, you would not admit to it.
Yeah, I admit that
I'm
shit.
curious. Growing up, is there one film that for you stands out? Not necessarily the first film you had seen, but one that just stands out like that was your all-time favorite as a kid. Like you, now you had brothers, of course. Me, no, but one that just really stood out or stands out.
Well, there was a couple actually, and when you said that, I immediately started separating as I do into genres. For example, in the horror genre, Frankenstein.
Yeah.
The first real horror movie I saw in the theater scared the crap out of me. That one, and we'll talk about that another time. Another one, as far as like a cowboy type movie, almost anything John Wayne was in, but Spartacus, Douglas. Spartacus, as a kid, that movie moved me on a number of levels.
Yeah.
I remember at the end when he's nailed to the cross, him and his other comrades in arms there, and his wife is being wagoned out of Rome, right, with his newborn baby, and she stops the cart and she gets out, and even though it's dangerous for her to do this, she takes the baby in arms and goes below Spartacus and shows the baby to him. And even now, thinking about that scene, it makes me emotional. At that time in my life, that movie made me cry when that scene came up. It was the promise fulfilled that baby would be free, and he gave his life. And I'm not going to get all religious or anything with you, because I'm not. I'm a spiritual guy, but wow, if that didn't jump at me relative to Jesus being persecuted and crucified on the cross, and he gave his life so that we could be free. And the parallel just always just rang in my mind all my life. And I've always loved that movie. I've seen it many times. But as a kid, that was one of the movies that really, really impacted me.
How old were you at the time, David?
Wow. That movie was in the 60s, I think around 65, 66. I was probably about 10.
Yeah.
9 to 10, somewhere 11, somewhere around in there.
And look how it impacted you.
Yeah. Movies are incredible. The vicarious experience, not just the adrenaline rush that we get from watching action films, but the emotional rush we get from watching films of sentiment, romantic. Like I told you, I ain't going into that theater at 15 watching no romantic. Because I sit there and start crying. Okay, I ain't crying, man. It's a damn dust. It's something popcorn. I got popcorn in my eye. That's it. I've always been like that. So I ain't crying in no movie house with nobody, man. But you see that ability to identify on those levels, which what makes movies so important.
Yeah.
Art itself, art does that. Art has to be, and we talked about this last time, how important art is just as a social construct, culturally, historically. Man has always had to express themselves.
Right.
Whether through movement or pictorial scribblings or artistic endeavor, whatever. They did that, even in their weapons.
Well, David, look at early man, cave art.
Cave art. Can you imagine it? Early man, he wants to go on a date, right? And he's looking for his woman, right? So he goes out there, which basically means, want to see my cave art? My etchings? Let me show you my etchings.
And that's how it all began.
I
And
also
she
got
goes,
one of
and she
dinosaurs.
goes, I've seen better.
Yeah,
What
but
do you mean?
but they don't got the kind of dinosaur bones I got.
I know, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It must have been difficult getting dates then. How do you entertain a date at that time? I don't know. Threaten not to beat him, pull him by the hair. I don't believe that. That man, it was. I got a feeling that man was a little more. I'm hoping anyway. That man was a little more gentle in understanding women. However, I may have it all backwards. Maybe it was the women who were the meanies. Hey, it's time. Get over here. Take care of this.
Fix this.
Before I
Go
beat
get
you.
some food.
Oh, we love women. Gotta love them. I've often wondered, not to change the subject, but how is it a man could not love women? How
Say
can
again?
you treat women so mean? I mean, without women, none of us would be here. I mean, I got a mother. We all got mothers. I don't care what you call yourself, a man, woman, an XYZ, or whatever. It doesn't matter. We all have mothers.
Yep.
And conversely, fathers. Hey, notice how that works? Mother, father. I don't know. Anyway, but back to movies being impactful. Frankenstein and Spartacus, and
Oh yeah.
then one other movie in another genre, comedy. Some Like It Hot. I love that movie. That movie to me just spoke volumes on many levels.
Yeah.
It was a crossover movie, literally, and one of the funniest movies ever been written. Now, there were some really cheesy parts that they filmed some scenes. I was like, wink, wink. All right, so what? But overall, the movie still stands as a classic comedy. Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis, Marilyn Monroe. Come on.
Yeah.
How could you go wrong? The timing's incredible. Jack Lemmon's impeccable in his comedic timing. And Marilyn Monroe, she has never, ever, and I say this oftentimes, I know many people have, aside from her sexiness, she has never been given the credit for her true dramatic acting abilities. If you've ever seen The Misfits, I think it was like her last movie. Great movie. Montgomery Clift, right? Clark Gable.
Yeah.
The Misfits. Wow. Great movie. She's awesome in it. She's awesome in it. Her acting skills and abilities. But, so goes our business, right? Sometimes we don't get to pick exactly how we want to be seen. Oftentimes it's how the audience wants to see us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we take a role, they go, that's it, I love him in that role. And forever after that, you are the Granny Goose character.
And you're stuck. Do you remember the film? I know you would. How the West Was Won?
Oh, yeah, great movie. Great movie. Many stars.
Many stars. And I recall when it came out, we were young kids. We were young back then. And my mom made a point going to LA to see us on the big screen, this huge screen, downtown LA on Hollywood Boulevard. And that was the big thing, How the West Was Won, this huge screen, and, watching the wagons go across the screen, right? But I still remember that. My mom was a big fan of movies, and rest her soul. I mean, she would be flabbergasted if she was still with us, that her son grew up, met you, my best and dearest friend, and here at this stage of life, making films. She would just be cloud nine, man. I mean, my mom used to get those magazines, like I think even were black and white back then, some of the magazines, like Photo Play and all of this. And my dad would tell her, like, Jack, why do you buy these things? Is this all crap? And my mom used to get like the Inquirer and believe those stories, like, kids were really raised by a pack of wolves and all of that kind of stuff. But all of those Hollywood magazines, she would just eat that stuff up, man. But I digress. But when I talk about How the West Was Won, I remember being stuck in traffic, driving to Los Angeles to see that film on the big screen. It was impressive. It was impressive. Huge screen and watching some of those scenes on the big screen. That back then, that was a big deal. We didn't have big screens. Huntington Beach only had just a regular movie screen, nothing too dramatic, but yeah, good memories. A lot of those old films, David.
Well, something interesting. Those films were great, in my opinion, because they were real. By that, I mean, of course, they were set forth and preconceived, etc. But they had no computer, no way to create action.
Yeah,
they were doing the action. How did they
good
film
point.
some of those things? Oh my goodness! So when you see these westerns with all these big cattle rushes and
Yeah,
chases and fight scenes and stagecoaches and crashes, and they really did that. And those
and oftentimes one take. I mean,
one take, they
how
only
some of
had enough
how you
money
gonna
for one
okay?
take.
Are you gonna say, okay, everybody, back to one? We're gonna take two, no, one and done.
One and done. And you know what kills me? And right now, of course, we just had the Oscars, right?
Yeah,
And congratulations to all the big people that were chosen. They deserved it. Many others who weren't chosen all equally deserved it.
yeah.
But for whatever reason, it wasn't their turn. Leave it at that.
Mhm.
However, one category I think really needs to be discussed and needs to be brought up are the stunt people.
Good point.
These people do incredible work. They create the reality to these action films. If the star, unlike some of those guys that we know who do their own stuff, and hats off to them, oh my gosh. But the good majority of it's done by trained stunt personnel,
Yeah,
men and women who do these things. And I think, just as I was just discussing these older movies, those things were real. Those people were falling off horses and crashing off these things and doing all this stunt work. And they've never gotten credit.
yeah,
They get a little blurb with a name. So what? They need to be given the credit they deserve,
yeah.
straight out. If I had any say so about it, there'd be a whole new category. And the stunts would be on two levels. Okay. Most unusual, and I hate to say this, but I hate to use the word dangerous because it creates people a desire to do more dangerous things.
Right.
But something to that degree, okay? Because Tom Cruise, I am sorry, that man hands off. Applaud, I
You're
applaud.
reading my mind. I was going to just mention him, David.
Incredible. I always liked his films. I
Yeah,
don't care what anybody else says about him any other way. That's none of my business. My business is about appreciating him as an artist and an actor.
yeah,
I think hands down, he's awesome.
yeah,
And if they did stunt categories, he would certainly be nominated. I mean,
yeah.
he does. I'm like, whoa! Did you see that?
It's incredible, man.
Incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah. But anyway, that's we're talking about stunts. Not to shift, conversation here, but there's a stunt going on right now that's pretty incredible. Sometimes Craig and we discuss things that are maybe unappetizing, like politics. I mean, it tastes like something you ate.
Well, it depends on what you consider unappetizing, I suppose.
Well, picture this. You've come to dinner at an acquaintance's house. You don't know them real well, but they're people you admire and respect, and they invited you to dinner. And you come to their dinner house, and they make all this, and they're all proud of it. They serve it, and not only does it look nasty, it smells nasty, and it certainly tastes nasty. And you put it in your mouth. How
David,
do you guess that?
To that point, a true story, a number of years ago, okay? And I have a lot of married friends. And there was a period, I think they felt sorry for me. So I was always the plus one, right? And be invited for dinner. And that's awkward. If you have those who are married, inviting a single person over for, it's just awkward. Just leave Just leave them be. They're perfectly fine doing their thing. Okay. Anyhow, so they invited me over. And the same thing, man. I'm trying to figure out what this meat is, okay? And I asked them. I said, what is this? Oh, it's a surprise, Craig. We're not going to tell you. And I just kept asking all these different questions, right, man? And as you know me, I eat right. I eat in a specific category, man, and don't surprise me with the meat. And I'm trying to get like a handle on this. And look, this isn't that extravagant, but I don't like that kind of crap. So I ate it. As it turned out, it was buffalo. Now I know for some people it's not a big deal, man. It's not a big deal. A lot of people just do that, but I'm not that sort of a guy, and I didn't appreciate it. So don't pull that crap on guests like a surprise meal. Like to your point, all I could think about with these, and they were so excited. Mystery meat, no, man. Anyhow, I digress.
That's okay. I've had buffalo. I like buffalo, but there's a restaurant in San Jose that I've gone to since I was a kid, teenager, called A Bite of Wyoming. Okay, A Bite of Wyoming. And buffalo burgers, buffalo steaks, and you can get other food as well.
Yeah.
But brother, I always liked it. But to go along with your story, we were living in Hawaii, as you know. I lived on Maui for several years.
Oh yeah.
We went with a very good friend of mine, an older gentleman, Adam Thomas, who I love and respect. God bless him. And he took us to a place he really likes, and they were serving lau lau. I don't know if you know what lau lau is.
I have no idea.
Well, it's a pork dish that's made and steamed, wrapped in leaves, tea leaves, etc., and it has a certain flavor and odor to it. Well, my wife, who has an iron stomach, she can eat anything. Okay, God bless her.
But when you say odor, that makes me concerned. A scent or fragrance, that's okay. Odor, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know about, but go ahead.
Well, I've eaten it before, and it was always good. I've always liked it. It was very tender meat. It tasted good. I like tropical foods, right? But we were at this table, and for some reason, Denise, it just didn't sit well with her.
Yikes.
And she opened it up from the leaves and started to take one bite, and it looked like she was going to chuck it right there. Man. I almost lost it. I'm like, oh, no. My friend Adam is sitting across, and he's like, "Oh, hey, that's good kind. Eat that, the kind. Hey, call that. That's lau lau."
Yeah.
And my wife was like, "We couldn't eat it."
Well, yeah.
So I get back to you. What
you can
saying?
Smell it before you open it. No, I'm sorry. I got you off point. You were going to say something, and all of a sudden I started thinking about mystery meats.
Bring up hot dogs. Okay, tube steak. Yeah, we growing up, I was just wondering what the hell's in this.
Yeah.
And when you read the ingredients, you're going, "What the hell's that?"
That's right. You still remain confused.
I go, all right. All I know is that with some onions and relish and a little bit of mustard here, it tastes pretty good.
Put some more ketchup on it, you're going to be fine.
There you go. It's kind of like this new project that's coming up. I think it's called Project 2025. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's I believe, a Republican-based agenda, what they're trying to do. And it's really trying to circumvent our constitutional protections regarding the presidential office. It's looking to empower it to a point where there's no more checks and balances, and it gives the right to the presidency to damn near do anything he wants, whenever he wants, to whoever he wants.
Yeah,
it's a horrible project. And they're trying to tout this as what they're going to do if I believe his name is Trump. I've been so used to referring to him as the orange Dumbo that I forgot his name. Anyway, that's me. Shame on me.
Well, that project. I mean, First of all, I think calling it a project is a misnomer in itself. And I'm going to be calm, cool, and collected. And if I get out there a little bit much, please, Mr. Espinosa, reel me back in. This project is very much online. Anybody can read it. Anybody can read it. And it's a very scary proposition when you go through and do read parts of this, the power that the president would have, where our agencies, DOJ, et cetera, all roll up under one individual. And that's scary for any society. I don't care if David and I are both independents, but if you're...
wait, let me stop you a minute. So what you're saying, just for definition, is that the president ultimately then would have the power to control the Department of Justice as a cabinet member of his office.
Bingo.
Wow. So he could basically direct them to go out and spy on people, to create investigations on people, on corporations, on anything he wants to, and it would never be a violation of law.
Unchecked.
Unchecked. Wow. So talk about the Fourth Amendment right out the door.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So we're just talking about our rights that are going out the door.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and again, just all of this is out there online. So you don't take necessarily what I'm saying as gospel. Just read, just go out and become educated. That's when I first heard about this, but Project 25, I just started hearing rumblings about it, David, myself. And I thought, this sounds rather concerning. This is something you might want to look into, and it's out there. And just read. People just need to be educated, man. Just
why do you think these people who are promoting this project, or as you said, this really this scheme 25?
Yeah.
Why do you think the people who are promoting this want this to happen? What's the real agenda? What do you think it is?
Power, money, control.
But that's it. You can say that about any. You can say that about any political party.
I'll go one better, David. Look, I'm a white guy. I don't mean to take this podcast in a whole other area, man. But it's a white thing, white control, white dominance. When I go through and read it as just through the white lens, straight up, man, white control.
So white supremacy.
Oh yeah, I don't see how you can. I try to read things and stay in the middle. I try really hard to stay in the middle. But when you read a doctrine, when you read something like that, to really stay in the middle becomes impossible. Then especially, David, and this is okay, I become biased, but I don't think unfairly. When you see the likes of Stephen Miller and these other folks that are on board with it, that repels me. That instantly tells me, oh, hell no. Then I see guys like Steve Bannon and these other people around Trump. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, no. And they'll go one better. If Trump happens to get reelected, reading Project 2025, realizing everything rolls up under the presidency, I think it's very unlikely to think in 4 years he's going to say, well, that was a fun 4 years. No. Putin, election that's happening right now, it's going to be another 6-year term. That's going to give him 30 years, and overall 30 years. So we're looking at the change of our land, a potential change of our landscape.
So let me understand this. You're saying that Putin is able to re-elect Putin by himself.
That's not a news flash. I mean,
no, I get that. That autocracy, that ability there to dictate.
Essentially.
Yeah, he's a dictator, straight out. But under the guise. Okay, now Trump obviously loves Putin. He kowtows to him, and every time he sees him, he bows his head and humbles himself to him. We see it all the time, but he does that to all these dictators. Okay, no matter if it's in North Korea or in China or wherever else, he's doing that, banging swords around and pretending.
Those would be the three.
Those would be the three. That's Trump's whole thing. So Trump admires these guys because Trump thinks that everybody else is ignorant, stupid people who have no real vision, have no say-so independently for themselves, for their own lives, can't make sense of life, and they need somebody like him to tell them what to do. That's what Trump is about. You see, somebody's got to throw the garbage. And don't get me wrong, that's a high-paying job. And I salute those who do that. Somebody's got to be a mechanic. And again, very sophisticated job, high-paying job. Not my calling. Not your calling. We make films. Did we tell you we make films? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. Yeah.
I try to sneak that in whenever I can, okay, watch our movies. They're on it. No, I'm just teasing.
I know.
But my point being, back to this business.
Yeah.
Come on, folks. Let's wake up. This is our democracy that many, many people, many generations have given their lives fighting dictators, fighting Nazis, fighting people who are fascists, people who want to control everybody else because they think they're smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
Believe me, Trump is not nowhere near the sharpest pencil in anybody's pencil box, anywhere.
David, along that, you mentioned about Putin. And again, man, if I'm reel me in if I'm getting too far out there.
Well, go out there first, and then we'll see.
Putin is truly a brilliant guy. Okay.
Oh yeah.
He was one of the best of the old KGB. And there's a lot of good history written about the man. He plays chess. He doesn't play checkers. Trump is not even probably good at checkers. Putin, God is my witness, got something on Trump years and years and years ago. Nothing else makes sense. Forget about how can you justify the behavior that nothing else makes sense, man. Nothing else makes sense. You take everything else off the table. You cannot forget about this Russia. No, there is something there, goes back decades ago, whatever it was. And the concern I have going into this election, Trump gets elected, aid to Ukraine, that's gone immediately. The eastern side of Europe, Ukraine, etc., all of that, whatever that man wants, whatever Putin wants, it's going to go from.
And Trump is willing to give it to him.
Well, you could say give it to him, but I think equally correct will not stand up to him and somehow come up with some spin like having Russian as a friend or an ally is a good thing, but he will not stop him.
If the United States does not fund Ukraine, Ukraine will lose that battle.
Well, there's no question. Opinion. There's no question.
So then we become an important factor in that success or defeat. Given that, if Trump becomes president, he's already said he don't give a damn about Ukraine. And he's mad at those people because they didn't go along with his little scheme to dig up garbage on Biden in the first election.
David, if I may, not only do we hold that in balance, we hold the outcome, let's say, of the world in balance. If we don't support Ukraine, the outcome of Europe, etc., man.
Absolutely.
That whole thing is a real key component.
That's why I use the term "give it to."
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's what he'll do. He won't fund them. He'll stand back. Just like right now, this TikTok business. Okay, he was against TikTok until he got kicked out of Facebook, and then Meta, etc. He got kicked out of Meta, got banned from having an account for a couple of years, and he's angry with them.
And
now all of a sudden,
Twitter a long time, and Twitter too.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, TikTok's okay. Let's get rid of Facebook." He's a retributive person to the highest degree. He will always try to get vengeance on somebody for any little thing, and everybody who works with him is afraid of that with this man. He threatens everybody. We cannot have somebody in our principal office behaving that way, using his office to basically hijack the country, hold everybody hostage, and threaten them. What's the difference between that and if you don't pay me, I'm going to send some guys over here and they're going to really show you how we paint the kitchen? What's the difference? There's no difference. Yeah. So, what are you going to do? Every society has their problems. And I think society in general, mankind, we civilizations, we start off good and then we develop these cancers, and it seems to grow if left unchecked. And for the longest time in history, nobody's been able to do anything about it because the cancers were always through some kingship, some emperorship, some dictatorship, someplace, lots of ships. And as a result, these people were able to basically can wreak havoc whenever they wanted to.
Yeah.
Napoleon, for example, he turned out to be a cancer for France. I think he, in his conquest to be a bigger man, we talked about this last time, right?
Yeah.
he sent a lot of his own guys to death, these cancers. But, I guess it's reflective on a micro and macro sense. I always like to compare that way, because if we look at ourselves individually, we can always see ourselves reflective of the society in which we are in. And the things that are destroying our societies are generally the same things that destroy us, like overabuse, overabundance, overconsumption. All that can kill a society and a culture just as it can an individual. Just like cancer. Those of you who know me know recently I had a bit of a bout with that. As a matter of fact, I spent half of 2022 and all of 2023 fighting it. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, and
Stage 4. Stage 4.
Stage 4. When I was diagnosed, it was stage 4, and I really didn't know what to say other than, well, okay, what do I do? The doctor said, well, we can definitely start chemotherapy and see how that works. Your stage 4, it's in your liver as well. It's in your bones. It's in your system, all over your body. And I said, wow, okay. I had masses all everywhere. I didn't know. When I started heavy duty symptoms, that's when I went to the doctor. I've never been a big doctor fan. I've always thought of them as mechanics. Well, come on in. What's it sound like? Let's feel it. Oh, that don't feel right. Let's check this stuff out. That's always kind of bothered me a little, and unlike let's check your oil, I wasn't too thrilled about that. So he says, well, look, we could do these infusions. It might take a bit. Normal was something, I think, around between 8 and 12, and I was scheduled for 18 infusions. After each infusion, I'd have one twice a month. And after each infusion, I'd spend several rounds of injections at home over a period of a week and a half, and taking steroids and other things, and a very strict diet, and couldn't see anybody, kind of locked up. But, I had this faith in me because that's really all that was left. And I think faith, when it's strong, kind of jumps out front and says, hey, I got you covered. Don't worry about it. I know everybody else is looking at you going, oh, you poor son of a bitch. You got the cancer. You're going to die.
Yeah, you're not looking so good.
Yeah. What happened to your hair?
Yeah.
I was bald as an apple, and that's no joke. Someday I'll bring a picture. You can take a check out it. Had no eyebrows, eyelashes lost, no facial hair. That's why I'm growing it all back. I'm saying, in case this shit happens again, I want to remember what it looks like.
You're overcompensating.
Overcompensate. I had a bald spot back here. Hair grew in. No bullshit. Look. I don't know if you can see that or not, but hair grew in. And I was like, what?
All right.
I had to get cancer to get that?
One of the perks.
All you had to do was tell me. I might have volunteered as an experiment. New hair growth cream or something. I don't know. There I was. But I'll tell you, my faith, when I say faith on a number of levels. First of all, I had to have complete faith in my doctors because I didn't know anything about what was happening to me, and I had no recourse. And I was stage 4, and I wasn't about to start experimenting. So they told me what I had to do, how I had to do it, and I did exactly what they said down to the diet. I can cook broccoli in about 20 different ways now.
And chicken.
Chicken? Let me tell you about some chicken. I can cook some chicken.
Chicken and broccoli.
But all joking aside, it kicked my ass straight up. I'm not to pat my back, but I've had some pain in my life, and I mean, I had surgery in my friend's backyard over on Maui. Come up out of the ocean, and within an hour, he was performing surgery on my foot. I stepped on sea urchin, Vana, they call it over there, and I got 3 thorns injected into my heel of my foot. And, he cut 2 of them out. That was painful. This cancer business dropped me to my knees. I lost a lot of weight, lost all my hair.
You froze.
It went black on me. Well, anyway, you get the idea. I was a mess. But I wanted to tell you real quick about faith. Now, when I say that, everybody thinks, oh, faith in God. Well, absolutely faith in God, because that's where faith principally lies. But as a result of my faith in God, I know that my faith really was in those doctors who God gave the blessing, skills, and desire to be doctors, that I had to have faith in them, the nutritionists, the nurses, the pharmacists, all the people who were helping me, who were giving me advice. And then I had faith in other people, my friend Craig, my dear wife Denise. I only told a few people because I didn't want a bunch of people to feel like they had to feel sorry for me, or I didn't want them to feel my stress, my pain. There's no need in sharing that. I didn't feel that. And my faith is in God principally. And I know that I didn't need a bunch of people praying for me, because my faith in God is such that he hears me directly. Now, I'm not saying I'm hooked up and I got a direct connection, dial 111. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying that I know in my heart that he hears me, and he knows what I'm going through. And if he wants me around, he's going to have my back, which he did. And I'm still here talking to you now. And if he didn't, well, Craig would be saying he was a good guy. I like that. You would, right, Craig? You'd be saying I'm a good guy.
Yeah, we would have a one screen share right now.
There you go. So that's the faith I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Faith and trust in all the things that are going on that can possibly give you the strength, and faith in yourself.
Yeah.
You got to have faith in yourself. I've seen a lot of people hurt more than I and suffering more than I. And I just thank God that I'm still here and that my hair grew back. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, you see some guys really good looking bald. I'm not that guy. No, I'm not that guy. My grandson, first time he saw me, he cried. I felt so bad. I said, "Oh, Mio, come here."
Oh,
he's like, "Who the hell are you?" What the hell happened?
I didn't know that, man. That's not cool.
I had a hat I was wearing, right? he came and brought it to me, and he goes, "Grandpa, here's your hat. Put your hat back on." Which, of course, I did. So every time he was coming over, I said, "Oh, where's my hat?" I put the hat on.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing, attitude.
Yeah.
You know, my attitude was straight up about stuff. I didn't worry about what people thought about what was going on because, like I said, either I was going to be here alive or I wasn't. If I was to die, I was to die. I know it sounds arrogant right now because I'm not, but I truly felt that way and believed that way. And when the doctor told me, I didn't fall apart about it. I didn't tell my wife until after Thanksgiving. I had learned about a week and a half before Thanksgiving, but I didn't tell her because we were preparing for Thanksgiving and I didn't want to ruin that for her, which it would have. So I waited till after Thanksgiving and then told her very gently what was going on with me and what I needed to do. And of course, she took it on the chin, as anybody would. And I knew that if I too reacted that way, it would be harder for her or anybody else who I told. And I didn't want that angst and that anxiety, that stress put upon them. So, like all suffering I've had in my life, I approach it in the same manner. I deal with it. It's an individual thing. My suffering is not to share. My suffering it's a private matter. But thank God I'm out of that. I've had 2 PET scans since that time, 5 months apart, 6 months apart. Each one has been 100% free of any metabolic masses in my body, free of cancer. My hair grew back. I feel a lot better. I still got some numbness, neuropathy, as they call it, in my fingertips and in my feet. But the good news is I'm here to have neuropathy in my fingertips and in my feet. So when you look at it that way on a scale of,
not such a bad deal.
I'll take the neuropathy for 20.
Yeah. I know, right?
Yeah. But again, cancers, hey, they're not just an individual thing. We have a social cancer going on right now, and it's in that plan that the Republican agenda is touting as 2025. We have to stop that. That will try to kill our democracy straight up. Our country will die. We will turn into a dictatorship straight out. Anybody who believes that Biden is a dictator doesn't understand what a dictator is and needs to start reading. I implore everybody to try to get a copy of the Constitution and read it. If you don't understand it, find somebody who does or get a book on interpreting it. Read it, talk about it, understand it. The protections are already built in it. The framers of the Constitution were very aware of these potentials of what Trump's trying to do, including all this other crap about instituting religion into our system. Wrong. Separation of church and state is an important doctrine that the framers of the Constitution were very, very adamant about having in there. They just went through that problem with the king who thought he was a descendant of God, had a direct line to God. Give me a break. So do not let anybody tell you that Biden is some type of dictator or doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, he's old. So am I. Okay. I don't think I'm a fool. So is Craig, and he's certainly not a fool. So I want everybody to understand how important it is that you understand your own Constitution and the protections embedded in it. Okay. Don't mean to get serious on you, but sometimes shit happens.
And on that note,
we want to thank you very much for spending some time with us. Good, bad, or otherwise. Yeah, next time you may want to bring a beer. I don't know.
I know, right? Bring something.
Yeah, bring something. Thank you very much for joining us. This has been Porch Talk with Dave and Craig.
Have a great rest of your day, all.
We love you. Peace.
Amen.